John Roberts covering a lot of ground for us this morning. For more on this now, Leslie Marshall, progressive radio talk show host and a Fox News contributor, and David Avella, chairman of GOPAC. I feel like we should take a deep breath for a moment. Try to weigh all of this. We're a long way, as John reported, from Bill Clinton in 1999, saying after the acquittal in the Senate, "I'm profoundly sorry, Leslie," to now the president letting it rip at the prayer breakfast.
You know, people on my side of the aisle, Ed, miss that presidential decorum, dignity, humility, and tone. And that is something that a lot of Trump supporters love that Donald Trump doesn't have and is quite the opposite of. I think people forget that an acquittal does not mean innocent. It means not guilty. And that's a difference. David knows that too.
Right.
But in addition, when you look at Bill Clinton historically, people don't go, "Oh yeah, former President Bill Clinton, the guy that was acquitted." They remember him as one of the presidents of the United States that was impeached, and so will Donald Trump historically going forward.
I want to get David in here, but hang on a second. When you're talking about the dignity of Bill Clinton and Democrats, and that it's lacking now, were you watching the State of the Union the other night when Nancy Pelosi was standing behind this president and ripped up his speech?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I provided post-State of the Union analysis here on Fox. Of course I was watching. I was sitting right here.
But
when
where was
she
the
did
dignity?
that, when she did that, I have to say, first off, I was like, really? No, not a good idea. But secondly, although she's House Speaker, she's not the President of the United States. And her response was that it was a speech of lies, and that she ripped that up. She has a responsibility as House Speaker, not just to Democrats, but as to the entire House body. Okay. So although it may not have been in the best taste, you can't even compare it with the list of things that have been inappropriate that have come out of this president's mouth over the past 4 years.
Let's give David a fair chance. Go ahead.
Let's talk about cause and effect. The president is acquitted yesterday, and hours later, China gets rid of $50 billion in tariffs on U.S. products. They realize the president isn't going anywhere. And as the UK now is going to be looking for a trade partner post-Brexit, you have President Trump now still in position to deliver jobs for Americans and a better quality of life for Americans. And certainly while season one concludes here on Democrat impeachment as they get ready for season two, as they've already kind of given some indications with Schiff wanting some new investigations to occur. We have the president continuing his work towards getting jobs for Americans, and as we look towards November, Americans are going to vote how their interests are being taken care of. And in category after category, as the president recited in stat after stat during the State of the Union, we are a stronger nation.
But David, and then I'm going to come back to Leslie, but I gave her two cracks before. We had Mike McCall on the show earlier, a Republican, as you know, who was basically saying it's time today to censure Nancy Pelosi. They want to vote on that. You were just talking about all the president's accomplishments, and there are many. He laid them out in the State of the Union, whether it be on trade, USMCA, jobs, low unemployment, all of that. Does it make sense, though, for your party to come back and say, let's spend more time now? You know, you investigated the president, so we're going to investigate Hunter Biden. You investigated the president, so we're going to censure Nancy Pelosi. Do you want to go down that road?
What's more important is what legislation gets passed. And the president talked about criminal justice reform, a big win for him and a big win for Republicans. But let me say this, Ed. A Democratic-led House had 2 Democrats vote against impeachment. A Republican-led Senate had 1 Republican vote for conviction. Arguably, the Democrats are twice as divided as Republicans on impeachment. And as we move forward, particularly with such a strong State of the Union address, and you had 82% of independents who liked the speech, you had a strong number of Democrats who liked the speech, and you had 95% of Republicans who liked the speech. This is a president that is in a strong spot right now to push the agenda he laid out in the State of the Union.
Leslie, you know, David makes a fair point about this, a president who now, after a series of victories and surviving this impeachment battle, is basically at his highest approval of his presidency.
Well, that's what happened with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's approval rating went up, depending on the polls, 73%, 74% after impeachment. And that's why I've always maintained this was not political, because Democrats knew, Speaker Pelosi knew, that this was a risk politically, but they felt that there was a constitutional responsibility to do so. I want to say two things to what David just said. One, if you're going to talk about legislation, Democrats in the House have passed over 400 pieces of legislation that are sitting in what's called the Senate graveyard that the Republican majority is in control.
All right, Leslie.
And